Hello, everybody, and welcome back to ZakIsCinema. Yes, welcome back to the home to talk about movies. But yeah, if you find yourself just trying to maybe strike up a conversation with somebody, just trying to rank your favorite movies or favorite franchise, and then they look at you and they're like, "Hey, man, can you please stop? We only have 30 minutes for lunch here. I don't need to rank movies with you." And you're just like, "Shit, who else is gonna rank these with me?" Well, and now we have each other here, okay? So yeah, let's do some rankings here, because yes, today we're not going to be doing another movie review. We are actually going to be doing a now franchise ranking for the 28 later movies, including days, weeks, and now years. So yeah, let's just hop right into it here. So as my usual rankings, these are going to be from worst to best. However, this is one of those, lucky franchises for me where I don't think there is a poor or negative movie out of the three here. So this is definitely a difficult ranking for me, and especially with years, it could really change place depending on what they do with the trilogy that they have planned out here. But I do have these lined up from worst to best in my opinion. However, this is really going to be a ranking of, okay, if I had all three of these lined up in front of me, a free evening or afternoon, which one am I picking up first and which one am I picking up last to rewatch, if that makes sense here. But let's jump into it here, starting off with my number 3 spot. We got the new one, 28 Years Later. Now, like I just said, this is not a bad movie. Overall, I would say I really did enjoy myself with this one. Just definitely left very frustrated and a rocky second half, which unfortunately put it at my third place. But like I said, I'd easily rewatch this one. Hopefully I get another chance to check it out in theaters. I really wouldn't mind watching this again, even going out to the theater and watching it again here. But like I said in my review, it is a really good movie where, again, it does the best thing this franchise can really do, is really just stand out on its own from the zombie genre, and this one definitely continues on that trend. Takes a similar formula but follows a small family in a community that has literally been isolated from the world, left to fend for themselves. I really enjoyed the family dynamic here. I love Spike as a character. I love his relationship with his dad, Jamie, and the relationship that we get to follow with him and his mother. It's just a very interesting situation where this poor kid is just, if he goes with his mother here, she's got a lot of medical concerns, but if he's with his father, he's not always honest, a little sleazy, a little all complex characters that I really did enjoy here. And the zombie carnage in action is awesome. I love what they do when they introduce the alpha zombie. Like I said, the community aspect is interesting. I like how they flesh out the world, introduce some new stuff with the zombies as well. And just when this movie started off, it was firing on all cylinders, and I thought maybe this could be my number 1. However, unfortunately, why it slipped to my third one is just first with the so disconnected opening scene, where the opening scene was truly incredible, intense, crazy for doing what they do to some characters in that opening scene, but it's never brought up again until the last 2 minutes in the goofiest way possible. I guess I can't really do this without spoilers, so spoilers for 28 Years Later if you're watching this ranking and haven't seen it yet. But Spike ends up running away from home after his mom has passed away now. He doesn't want to go back to his dad at the moment, and he's saved by these group of survivors, and the leader is the kid from the opening scene, but instead they're all dressed like Power Ranger cheesy drug dealers of some sort, doing backflips, somersaults, and twirls as they scream and kill zombies wearing gangster jewelry. And it's just, I feel like explaining it, and if you haven't seen it, you're like, don't even know what I'm talking about or why this would be in the movie. And you're right, it really shouldn't. Like I said in my review, if they want to fix it for the physical release, I'd totally be fine with that. If they want to correct in the next one and tone tone those characters way the fuck down, I'd be fine with that. I'd totally forgive them. So I hate the ending note that it leaves off on here. And when this movie changes halfway through to now, instead of a father-son movie, it's a son trying to help his dying mother, it kind of peters out a little bit when they get with that doctor. Unfortunately, his mom gets the diagnosis of cancer, and then the decision to kill her off is made so quickly without as much emotional impact as I really think it could have and should have. So I felt like that was missing just a little bit here, which was frustrating. And yeah, I felt like it was a missed opportunity to really do something very emotionally impacting here. But yeah, so a couple very specific complaints that are just like so baffling to me as to why they made those decisions. And, you know, it's frustrating because it's not a bad movie, but the first half, in my opinion, is significantly better than the second half of the movie. And the second half is kind of what you're left with here. So yes, that is why I got 28 Years Later coming in at my number 3 spot. But coming in at number 2, we got 28 Weeks Later, the second one. And right off the bat, this probably has my favorite opening, where it starts off just like a sweet little conversation between a couple where you get a lot about their relationship, where their kids at, where they are in this zombie apocalypse. And then as soon as you hear a knock at the door and a kid comes into this house and the zombies just come busting through, and it leads to that huge decision of Don literally being forced to choose himself or his wife, and he chooses himself and just keeps running out of there. And then that sets him off, has implications for the rest of the story with his kids as well. So it's just, unlike 28 Years Later, the opening is so integral to this movie, and I absolutely love it. It's great tension, some of the best zombie stuff you're ever going to see here. And I like how this one switches up the formula from the first one, where it kind of puts us at this perspective of these kids, this family dealing with what their parents just went through, and then a government's response to this and them trying to hold on to civilization. And I just, again, love the zombies in this whole franchise, but especially in this movie, just how it kicks off with the opening. You definitely get a lot more zombie carnage and action compared to the little bit different what they do in the first one. Like, it's a big jump. Like, if you like more straightforward zombie stuff, this is a movie that I can highly recommend. However, it's in my second place here because, like I just said, when it switches halfway through to a little bit more cliche story of, you know, these kids might have special blood because their mother had special blood that fights the infection. Do we know why? No, they just have special blood. Just deal with it and move on. And it's pretty much just switches into an escape movie of trying to get these kids out of the city to hopefully save humanity. And it's a story you've seen before. Like I said, a really well done version, but it kind of goes more for that straightforward approach and has less commentary and messages compared to Years Later and Days Later. So it's more of just that straightforward zombie fun movie. So if you like this, I could see this easily being in someone's number 1 spot, but to me, it is coming in at my number 2 here. But that leaves our number 1, which my number 1 here is going to be 28 Days Later. I really do love this movie so much, and I remember when I first watched it, I was watching a lot of zombie stuff just right around then because I was kind of discovering this a little bit. Just the way that this movie always stuck with me, I found so interesting, just because it felt more than just another one of those movies, another one of a zombie movie. I love the opening with how chaotic and uncomfortable it is as soon as that chimp runs out of the cage, and you get introduced to what these rage-infected zombies are going to look like and how quick they turn, how violent it looks, and how they can infect you by biting you, but also just like vomiting on you, or if you shoot one and the blood splatters in someone's eyes or mouth, they're infected too, and just how quick it turns. Like, it's something we haven't really seen before, and this was the movie that kind of started it off. And speaking about openings, I think that laboratory scene is awesome, but then the scene you get right after with our main character of Jim waking up in the hospital, and then he doesn't know what's going on and is roaming around London and doesn't really find out that there's something terrible going on until he goes into the church, and that creepy ass scene with the priest chasing after him. And then you get introduced to the characters that we're going to be with Selena. Yeah, I love that opening. I love how it makes me feel. I love how isolating and the way that they shot it. And it obviously inspired a lot of The Walking Dead, so it's very influential at the same time too. Speaking of why my other two were in the places that they were, I think this movie gets it right when it starts off as that very more standard zombie movie of the characters trying to survive and escape of their situation that they're in. And then halfway through, it kind of changes into something different when they find this military camp that turns out to be this trap organization full of military guys just trying to find women to breed with. But then they also, before they find that out, have interesting conversations as to what they think the zombie apocalypse is, and you get the different characters' perspectives of people not really seeing it all that different. It's just humans fighting other humans. So there's a lot of interesting stuff like that. So it's not like a super deep, complex movie, but there's a little bit of layers to it, and I think that's what helps it stand out so much compared to anything else in its genre as well. And I really love the ending to this one, how it's very hopeful and a positive ending, but also left ambiguous because you're not really sure how much safer these characters are going to be or how much longer they're going to last. So it's a little ambiguous at the same time, a little bittersweet. So I love that it's left off like that, and it has a really cool alternate ending too. If you've never seen it, you should definitely check it out here. But I love this movie, terrific pacing, and it did a lot for the zombie genre. And even today, with how overly saturated all this zombie stuff is, this movie still stands on its own nearly, what is it now? 25 years later, which is just so impressive here. But you guys have my final ranking here. Like I said, this was a difficult one. These are all really good movies at the end of the day. And like I said, with 28 years, I could really see it shifting all over this ranking depending on what they do with the remaining other two parts that they got coming out hopefully soon here. But let me know down below, what is your ranking of the 28 later movies? Do you agree with my ranking? Do you hate my ranking? I'd love to hear different thoughts and opinions, because I could really see anybody's ranking. If it was complete opposite, I'd be like, yeah, I understand that. These are all good movies here. So definitely a fun franchise to kind of go through and everything, because I enjoyed myself watching all of these movies here. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down below here. And yeah, I appreciate anybody watching my videos. So thank you so much. And yeah, look forward to more ZakIsCinema coming very soon.